Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Unicorn Dust Designs. Today, we are going to upcycle some old home decor using the new JRV Cottage colors. I cannot wait to show you how beautiful these are. So, I want to start off by showing you the colors. This one is Americana. Then we have Blue Hills. This one's going to be a little brighter, and we have the color Crockery. These colors have a built-in top coat to them. They're self-leveling. They only have 7 ingredients and they are absolutely beautiful. There are also 5 other colors available as well. So we're gonna hop right into this. I'm gonna take one of these old frames that I just got at a garage sale, and I'm going to take the crockery color. Now, with these paints having in the built-in top coat, you have to stir it. When you open it, you'll probably see some separation of the paint. That is completely normal. Just stir your paint and you are good to go. We in this video are going to play around with the paint, try different things like, waxes, and I'm going to give you my opinion on it. So I'm going to take the little dipper brush and I am going to put 2 coats of paint on this frame. Now, using this paint, you're going to find that it's a lot thinner than the DIY paints, and that's because it does not have clay in it. So you'll probably notice that you have to do a couple coats. It also is a, what do you call it? Like a satiny sheen. That's what you're going to see. It's not going to be matte like the DIY colors. So there are a lot of differences in the cottage colors versus the DIY paints. And we'll just kind of go over those little differences as we go through the video. So this is how it looks with 2 coats. So you'll see on the left side, once I lay it down, it's darker. The cottage colors, unlike the DIY colors, they dry down darker. And you guys know if you've used the DIY paints, they dry down lighter than they look when they're wet. So you can totally see the difference here on the right side, how much brighter the paint looks, but it will dry down to be a little darker. So that's what it looks like when it's completely dry. Now I'm going to take my dark wax. I just wanted to see how it would work with the paint itself. Now, since it has a built-in top coat, it literally I don't know how to, it's slick. That's what I'll say. It's slick. It's just like if you use DIY paint or Waverly paint, put a polyacrylic on top and then applied the wax. It was just like very slick and it was very easy to wipe back. It didn't stick to the paint. Um, and I didn't have to put any clear wax on it prior. So you'll see I have a paper towel and this is wiping right off. It still darkens the paint. It still sticks into all the details like I need it to, but it didn't cling to the paint since it is not matte. So I wiped all of that excess off. I buffed out a lot of it in the details, but I still left a lot of it in there so that you could see the details pop. Then I went to Canva and I just got one of their images. I thought it was really pretty and I just cut it down to size and popped that in the frame. I actually really like how stark white that image is against the frame, but this is how crockery looks with some dark wax on it. If you are a neutral girl and guy, then you are going to love this color and want it in your collection. Now, this beautiful clock was only $3.99 at Savers. I love the face of the clock and it was actually really heavy, but the back of it had broken off. So since I like the face of this clock, I am just going to get some painter's tape and we're going to tape around this. All you have to do is kind of push your tape into a curve. How about I don't explain how to tape the face of the clock off because it ain't going to be good. All right, so now we're using Americana, and this color is probably one of the most popular ones I'm finding people are enjoying. I really love it too, and it looks very similar to Apothecary. And at the end, I'm going to show you a side by side of Apothecary and Americana. So this clock actually had like a crackle finish around it, which I loved, and the paint settled into all those cracks so well. If you guys have clocks that you're not using anymore that are no longer your style, pull them out and add some paint to them. You guys, it really does transform them. And although this one didn't necessarily need to be transformed, I liked it. So after one coat, this probably could have used two coats. But I really liked how you can see some of the white popping through. It looked like it was like meant to be like that. Since I do want to sell this clock, I'm going to paint the back of it. And then I'm going to take a razor blade and clean any of my bleeds. This paint is not water soluble, so you can't just take a wet cloth and clean it off. Now, I wanted to see how this paint distressed down with sandpaper because, like I just mentioned, you can't wet distress this paint. It will not come off like a DIY or a chalk paint because of that built-in top coat. So I got a fine grit sandpaper and I went over all those details and it was effortless, you guys. It looked so good. Now, if you let this paint cure for 24 hours, is it going to be this easy? I'm not that sure, but we'll continue to play around with them. And I don't have to wax it or do anything, you guys, because it has a built-in sealer. So this was the part that was broke. It just kept popping off. So I got some staples and I pushed those up under there. It was the thinnest thing I could get that wouldn't be ugly, I guess. I mean, it's not the most prettiest, but whoever buys it is going to have to take those out and then kind of bang it back in. Sorry, you know. But this is how Americana turned out. It is a gorgeous color. I know many of you are going to be digging this. I love the way that it's sanded down, and I love that I don't have to do an added step by adding any kind of wax to this. I mean, it's done. Look at the crackle on the top. Isn't that so pretty? And you could see the sheen to it. And then I told you I wanted to show you side by side. Apothecary is on the left, and then you have your Americana on the right. So they're very similar, but you could definitely tell Americana is a lot lighter. Now we're going to go into Blue Hills. Blue Hills is going to be for those of you that love color because it is definitely a brighter color. I had this cow in my stash since I lived in the last house and it had been there for quite some time. So I finally decided we're going to flip it. So on one side, it was a lot smoother. So on that side, I decided to do a really clean paint job and make sure that I covered the entire cow. And then on the other side, I did a distress job. That way, whoever gets it, if they want to show the distress side, they can, or if they want to flip it to the image, they can as well. So I decided to go with the scenery stamps from IOD. These are new. Vonda sent them to me from thepaintedheirloom.com. Her link's always in the description box. And I'm going to start stamping away. I'm going to be completely honest, you guys. These stamps are very intimidating and they were overwhelming for me. There are just so many options in there. I mean, scenery, people, animals, trees. I mean, the list goes on and on. And I was playing around with it. I will say that I went a little bit heavy-handed with the ink on some of them. So I really need to remember when I'm playing around with the stamps that like a little goes a long way because once you push those down, I mean, it really pushes that ink out. So I need to be mindful of that, but practice makes perfect, right? This definitely wasn't my usual building a scene like this, but I just had fun with it. And these, I feel like I want to make like postcards or something for my booth with these because there's just so many options. And this is how the cow turned out. Again, it's not going to be for everyone, but I just wanted to show you all of the beautiful details in this, and it was a great way to take a blank space and have fun with it. Now, after this dries, you do need to clear the ink, not the paint, but you need to clear the ink on that, okay? Now, this one we're going to use crockery again. I hauled this pig in Utah. It was $1, and everybody said, go ahead, paint it. So I wanted to see how it would look on this little pig. I had to do 2 coats to get full coverage and cover up like the little hooves and the pink and all of that stuff. Once I was done, I took this gray wax. This is in my Amazon store. The link's in the description box. And I really pushed that into the details. The piggy had little fine details on it, so I had to push that wax into those details because if you remember, when we wipe it off right here, that paint is very slick, so majority of my wax was gonna come off, which I knew. So you can see how it's settling into all the fine details, but now I get to see all of that paint color once again. So I'm just holding it in my hand with a paper towel, buffing it off with the other one. And it's kind of crazy how different the two crockeries look. You can see how light it looks here compared to when we used the dark wax. But this little piggy came out so much better. And all of these are going to be available on my website, unicorndustdesigns.com, for purchase, as well as all of the paints. So make sure to go check that out. I appreciate you all spending your time with me, and I hope you were inspired today. You guys, I found a nursing home to donate all my Dollar Tree stuff to because you guys, I have like a surplus, and I'm not reaching for it anymore. So I want to donate it, and I found a nursing home that will take all of this stuff. But can I just tell you how hard it is letting go of it? Like, I know I need to let go of it because I'm not using the stuff. It's literally sitting in a room and I'm not touching it. But then when you start actually like, okay, let's put this in the box, and you're like, but I can see using it for this or that. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, you gotta let go. You gotta let go. You gotta let go. But it's so hard. Okay, you guys, I hope you have a great week, and I'll be back here on Thrift Thursday.